Alrighty, folks, it's time to check in on the spring selling season. As you know, we've been talking with Beth Traverso now for about 5 years. She always reminds us that King County, aka Seattle, starts the spring selling season earlier than most of the country. So let's check in on February business. Let's check in on early March business and see, did spring sprung, or is it like last year and it's just a flat dud? All right, Beth, what do you got?
Wow. First of all, 5 years already. Wow. Time flies. It's been fun.
Yes,
it's always the highlight of my week coming here and chatting with you. So, spring is interesting this year. And what I mean by that is on the east side where I am, we're not getting our bidding war bump. And even last year we got it. Every year we've had it, but not this year. Every year in recent memory, we've had it, even on the slower years, 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025. We always had bidding wars in, say, January, February, March, at least.
Right.
Not seeing it this year. But in some areas, interestingly, on the Seattle side, so in our area, there's a giant lake called Lake Washington, and on the east side is where the more expensive homes of the tech executives tend to live in those areas more so than in Seattle, which is, older, charming, older historic homes, those kind of things.
Yep.
Prices are higher on the east side. They tend to, be around 1.5 or so median price. And then in the Seattle side, it's lower, around 900-ish. I've been hearing from my friends that work more on the Seattle side that they are setting offer review dates and getting bidding wars and sometimes having 4 to 9 offers.
Interesting.
It's interesting that prices, though, are not really bumping up year over year over there. I think what I see in that side of the lake is a pricing strategy where people will deliberately price low and set the review date to get the bidding war.
Okay.
On the east side, we're not seeing that. I think it's too risky because we don't know for sure. What if you don't get, you can never guarantee multiple offers. What if you do everything right and you don't get the multiple offers? Then that puts the seller and the agent in a real awkward position. So, because you only get one shot at that. So we are seeing things move. I remember last year there was some weird anomaly with the numbers where on the east side, it was down 16% year over year. I think that must have just been something with the mix. Mostly I was noticing it was in an area called Mercer Island, which is an island in the middle of Lake Washington that has some of the most expensive real estate in the nation there, where major CEOs live. The Bill Gates actually doesn't live there. He lives real nearby. But anyway, like Bezos was there, et cetera. Right. So we are seeing that east side is down year over year, about 7%.
And that's price.
Price down.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. Sales are down a little bit in King County, 4.5%, but they're up 4% on the east side. So sales are up. Inventory is up huge. King County has 4% more inventory than it had last year.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard on the Daily Financial News, Lance Lambert pegged the state of Washington, so the whole state, as the number one state for increased inventory year on year.
Yeah, because we had almost nothing. And you can even see if you look, if you pull up just like Zillow and you look and see all the little dots, there used to be barely, where's the dots? They're barely any dots.
Where to go?
Yeah. But you look at other metro areas, there's dots everywhere, there's always a ton of choices. And the Seattle area has not traditionally had that. And a lot of the reason why was because it would move, like last year we would see 5 days on the market because you list on a Thursday, do offer review on a Tuesday, and it's gone. And then the new inventory comes on the next Thursday, and it just keeps cycling through this time of year. What we're seeing now is we're not seeing the offer review dates in most cases. And they're taking longer to sell. So it's not necessarily a weekly cycle. And we're also seeing, you combine that with, there's a lot of folks that didn't sell last fall.
Yeah.
And they're back. So we see a lot of that inventory that is hanging around, giving it another shot. So,
again, it's early. So I'll have a couple more weeks. right? So this all could change. But what I'm hearing you say right now is this might be the worst. This spring selling season might be worse than last year, and last year was the worst of the last 5 years. Is that what we're saying? Could be.
Yes, and overall, I would say yes. However, the whole what'd you call it, the tariff tantrum or whatever, somebody called it that. That was pretty extreme. So we went from bidding wars, houses being bid up 200,000 over, to just dropping into the basement immediately. We're not seeing that kind of reaction to anything. It's just a little more methodical. It feels like summer and fall and the other of 2025, where we were just plugging along and houses are selling. But you just had to set your expectations differently. And that's how I'm seeing it now too. And you have to be ready to adjust price. If the market's not responding to your price, you have to be more patient about timeline, et cetera.
So, and again, when we talk about King County, where the executives are, is it fair to say that maybe what's happening is stuff's not selling or moving just because executives are nervous? I don't know if it's AI or layoffs or what it is. But maybe this is the first time in 4 or 5 years these white collar executives feel threatened, maybe?
I think it's definitely a factor.
Yeah.
For enough people, it doesn't have, I don't think the buying public at large, the majority of them feel that way.
But it only needs to be 10%.
That do. There's enough that do. Or maybe they already were laid off and that impacts them. Or they're seeing other members of their team or department happening to them, and they might be a little nervous. And then, but interestingly, I've also seen we had a lot of high-end properties last fall that didn't sell, that were in the 3 millions, and I've seen a few of those come back and sell within 10 days, 15 days or so. So like,
that's interesting.
And some of these 2.5 ones, but there for a while there, it seemed like there was just a whole ton of them were dumped on my local market here. And it just seemed like it would take forever to work through that inventory. One by one, they kind of did price drops and sold, or they just took them off the market. Now they're coming back and they're selling. So it's like, how do you figure that?
So this is interesting. So again, I've been watching real estate forever. So it kind of feels like a donut, right?
Yeah.
Earlier you said Seattle, the entry level housing is moving. And that actually is what Pending Home Sales said this morning from National Association Realtors. Nationally, we were up from 31 to 34%. So again, I'll say the low end, which again, 900 grand, hard to believe it's the low end, but it is the low end for you. And then there's the high end, which is like 2x the median, or I've always called it 2x the median, that is selling. And then there's this donut in the middle, right? This hollow spot. So it sounds like this kind of feels like that's what Seattle is. The low end is moving. The ultra luxury is moving, because the ultra luxury doesn't need loans. You know, they're already set, but it's that people in the middle. They're like, dude, I'll wait 90 days.
Yeah. And then another factor, I think you're right about that. Another factor about that mid-tier. Well, there's 2 other factors. One is there are some new home developments that have saturated the market in some of these communities that don't normally have traditionally new homes.
Oh, that's true.
We have very limited sprawl, very limited. It's limited by ordinances and geography and other things.
Yeah.
Very hard to build. Probably like, I imagine the Bay Area is probably similar from what I heard. So, but you get some new plats coming on where it's like a farmer sells out and they get their upzone property and they put, 40 houses, 50 houses in there.
Right.
And that can saturate that. And they're all the big homes on the smaller lots at the mid-tier price. And then you get 20 of those in a small community that can't absorb that. And then you have the resale people in there too.
That's exactly what's happening.
Why would a buyer feel any sense of urgency when they just got to wait for somebody to drop the price enough? And
no, you're feeling what you probably don't feel a lot is competition in that middle part of the donut. Because again, builders can do buy downs. They could do all these other incentives where existing home sales can't. And like a lot of the country, new construction and existing home sales are very similar priced. You probably haven't had that in any great numbers for a long time. And you just have this little window where there's 40, 50 plots coming. And it's just like, it's moved the needle for a little while. And until that's absorbed, this donut's going to be there.
Yeah. And it'll take probably a year or 2, but it will get absorbed and there's not going to be more really coming into the pipeline. But And it's a very specific part of the market, you know, those types of homes on those types of lots. Cause we also have the other ones, like acreage homes are a different thing around here, or like the starter homes are a different thing. I wish we had builders doing more starter homes, but it doesn't pencil for them to do it. Why would they do it? It costs so much money to build. So they're building these big houses.
That's why they do condos, Beth. That's why they do condos.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to take that risk and spend the money, the profit has to be there. And then the other thing I think that's holding it back is we're still seeing some lock-in effect.
Yeah, for sure.
That's been going on for years, and I just haven't seen a whole lot. We're seeing some as time goes on, some move up buyers, seller buyers, but not a lot. Still, a lot of the folks I work with, the sellers I'm working with, they're retiring, and downsizing. They're moving out of the area, or job relocation, or a death or divorce situation. Like those are still the ones that I see most commonly, rather than the people that are just want another bedroom.
I love it. I love it. So again, price down about 7%, transactions down 4%.
Yeah, on the east side, it's down 7%. So, but overall in King County, interestingly, it's up 2.3%. So
wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So
it's very, you know, it depends on the niche that you're looking at. Certain segments are doing better than others. So,
well, let's talk about March. You've obviously had 9 days of March. Today's the 10th.
Yeah.
What have you seen? What has your team seen? Open houses trends. Is March acting like February, or is March
it's acting like February? I'm not seeing, you know, I think we're still just going to have more of the same here for a little while, and we have to pace ourselves. Our open house, I mean, granted, we had horrendous weather last weekend, but we weren't seeing a huge amount of activity. Although interestingly, my upper tier listings were the ones that had the most activity. So like we have one that's listed at 385, and that was the busiest open house of the weekend, you know. So that was interesting.
What does 385 get you in that? I mean, what are we talking? 5 acres?
This is pretty interesting. This one is 6 acres on 600 feet of riverfront, a 9,100 square foot, one level home.
9,100 single level?
Single level. You never see that. With a enormous luxury kitchen, and also has a airport rights for this private airstrip community. You can taxi your airplane, you can fly your Cessna in and taxi it into your driveway and park it there.
John Travolta.
Yeah. That's what you get.
Well, hey, for $4 million you get your own you get an airport or whatever.
It's pretty special. You don't see a lot of that around. So.
Well, there you go. That's why it's $4 million.
Yep.
Beth, you're amazing. Thank you for bringing us the real, even though it's not fun to talk about. It is interesting to see what's going on. Again, you never know. Weather might get better. The market may turn around. But worst case, you're just going to keep plugging away and be a top 1% agent. Where can people find you?
People find me. You can Google my name, Beth Traverso. My Beth Traverso Group website. I'm all over social media and also in the school community there. So you can find me on there and message me if you want to.
Yeah, folks, if you are in my school community and you are not asking Beth for referrals to top 1% agents in your market, you are flat out making a mistake. Send her a DM, tell her the market. She will find you someone. Beth, you're amazing. Take care.
Thank you. See you next week.